Hey, more friends, how you doing? Hope you're having a good week. We're having a good one here. I'm getting old. My hair's kind of messed up. Look at that. Isn't that bad? I need a haircut. Hey, exciting week. A lot of games going on. Want to go over those games and also talk about some upcoming events. First, this weekend, it's an exciting time. 25 evangelists are going to be in Nashville at the Music City Grand Prix. Music City Grand Prix. So when if you're not going, pray for this outreach, this opportunity to preach the gospel in Nashville. It's pretty phenomenal. This is about the fourth or fifth year, I think, we've done the Grand Prix. Well, I led the first one, so I would have led the first one, and then Ben Grady led two or three, and then Ben Gonzalez is leading this one. Ben's only been preaching a couple of years, and he's leading. He's done a great job, and so 25 evangelists are going to be there. That's pretty phenomenal in Nashville for this weekend. And Nashville itself has turned itself into a great destination for gospel preaching. Look on Facebook for John Coble. You'll see all the pictures. Corey Lindsay, Ben, some other guys down there preaching frequently. And so, but this is a pretty neat opportunity. I was looking at the list the other day, and I don't know if you ever read church history, especially about open air preaching, but you read this history and you get to familiar with the names, and then you see they had conferences, they met together, and you go, that would have been so neat to be there and hear what they had to say and so forth. And it just for this particular event, I think just really the Lord really working with me to see the magnitude of what's going on here. But I thought this is kind of an historic weekend. 25 evangelists from different backgrounds, different lengths of time. Scott Roney preaching 30 years, Mark Yoho preaching over 20 years. Then you got new guys coming, and it's pretty phenomenal gathering of evangelists. And so, Lord's working in our midst across this country through SFOI and apart from SFOI. It's not about a ministry name or anything like that. It's about Christ being preached. And so, but in this case, he's working here. I'm excited about it. So pray for this outreach. It's a pretty unusual opportunity here. We always want to pray for liberty to preach, freedom to preach. That there's great fellowship, edifying teaching. Heath Pucil is teaching this weekend. Keep your finger in the text. And then salvation of sinners, God will grant many repentance unto life. And the last one, that Jesus Christ's name will be made great amongst the people. So a handful of things to pray for over and over again if you remember the guys in Nashville this weekend. But a great opportunity. I want to thank the Lord for raising them up. Thank the Lord for Ben Gonzalez's leadership. Thank the Lord for Ben Grady for really setting a high standard the last several years and just sort of handing it off to Ben. Now Ben's running with it. I'm so grateful all the guys are coming. One of those is Frank Rolberg. And in 2 weeks, September 28 and 29, Frank will be leading the South Star Outreach in Huntsville, Alabama. That's a new event in Huntsville. So it's a new outreach, and we're going to see what happens, how the event unfolds. So Frank's a seasoned veteran preaching since 2010. And so if you're in the Huntsville area, you just want to fly into Huntsville and preach for the guys for a couple of days, whatever your scenario is, click the link on the sfoi.org/events link below this video, and you'll see the South Star Outreach. Frank's contact info is on the page. Contact Frank and let him know you want to come. If you haven't registered with us before, register at the bottom of the page. There's a link to click to register and get on the team there. And then in October, 3 events in chronological order. NFL London, I'm leading that October 11th. So you land in London on Friday the 11th. We'll preach for 10 days straight through Sunday, February the 20th, and then we'll come back on Monday the 21st. 2 NFL games on the Sundays, and then we'll preach out the city the rest of the time, 7-8 hours a day. It's the best city I've ever been at. People everywhere. They need us over there. So there's one more spot left. If you want to go, let me know ASAP. 423-724-7500, 423-724-7500. Text me, say I want to go. If you haven't registered, register. Let's get you all signed up. The next one is NC State Fair. Tommy Waltz, a veteran evangelist, head of Gospel of God Ministries, a great teacher in evangelism and apologetics, is heading this up. A lot of guys in the Raleigh area will be there. We're willing some new guys. So there's room for 15. Right now there's 3 registered, and Tommy's just getting started recruiting everybody. And so plus Dr. Lawless from Southeastern Seminary, Annette Dillon, Eric Dillon, I believe Eric is one of the elders at Tommy's church for teaching. And then 3 days of preaching. Should be 1 million people go by at the NC State Fair on those days. Phenomenal opportunity. First time for the State Fair outreach. This is something new, a new area to have an event in the country over there in Raleigh. While there's a lot of preaching over there through Tommy, through Gospel of God, you've got Joe Toy, Zach Brady, Peter Firth, Daryl Davis, and their teams. Scott Smith, Patty Smith preaching, some other guys. So we got a lot of activity in Raleigh. It's the first event, though. We want to get going, hopefully on an annual basis there to reach these folks. So in other words, in that area of the country, this will be the second event. There's one in South Carolina, Jason McGowan's led in May. This will be one in the fall. So these are both great events. In this case, in Raleigh, a great event for gospel to be preached, and lots of training can go on. This could be a good place for new guys and old guys as well to show up and preach the gospel. So put that on your calendar. Lastly, Diego Sandoval is leading a team. He's already got about 10 or 12 folks going to Mexico City for the Mexico City Formula One race. How exciting is that? I've been to Mexico City twice. It's a great city, even if you don't know Spanish for preaching, much less if you do know Spanish. So Diego's done a great job recruiting everybody, getting down there. So October 25, Friday the 27th is the weekend. If you can go, again, click the link, go to sfoi.org/events, click the banner on the Grand Prix, contact Diego, say you want to go, register, you haven't registered, and join us. Last big event for the year is in Vancouver, Canada, the Grey Cup, which the Grey Cup is the Super Bowl for the Canadian Football League. And so there's room for 6. I think there's 4 of us now, room for 2 more. And that'll be good November 14 to 17 in Vancouver. I've been once before for the Winter Olympics. Good time. We had a good time. A lot of people everywhere. They let us preach. I anticipate the same. So it should be a good event. If you've never been to Vancouver, Vancouver is basically due north of Seattle in the northwest part of the country. It's kind of the same climate, has the same look and feel basically that Seattle does. So it's a good spot. So again, sfoi.org/events. Scroll down the page. The banner says Grey Cup on it. Click it and see the details and register and come and join us. 2 spots for that. Also, doing SFOI 1000 this fall. We'll get to that in a second. And then there's going to be bowl season in December. And then we'll roll into the college football championship led by Lord Will and Alex Burke. That's going to be in Atlanta. Gasparilla Fest in Tampa. I'll be down there. Super Bowl in February 6 to 9 in New Orleans. We had our team leaders retreat in New Orleans. Labor Day weekend rolling onto that. And then we hit the spring schedule. So we're off and running. So lots of opportunity for gospel preaching. So come and join us today. I want to go over this upcoming weekly schedule here for sports and football. And let me see if I can get this schedule for the SFOI 1000 as well. First, let me go over the SFOI schedule. Saturday's games, and this link will be at the bottom of the video. Joe Toy, NC State, Nick O'Berry, South Carolina, Ryan Denton, Dorothy Boyette at Georgia Tech. Jacob Nelson, Illinois State, Stephen Kendall at Purdue, Mason Goodnight, Ryan Clark at Oregon, Shiloh, Galvin, Richard Walker at Oklahoma, Doug Renz at Georgia Tech, Mike Seathaler at UNC, Grayson Shaw at Georgia Southern, new place for us. Grayson had a good outing. Francisco Neves at University of Texas, Pat Haggerty at Colorado State, David Day at Auburn, and Lord willing, I will be at UT. Sunday's games, Doc Shank at Minnesota, Mike Andrews at Charlotte, Panthers, Heath Pusel, Dan Davis, so they will not be there. I think their friends will be there in Green Bay. John Cole, a bunch of guys will be at the Tennessee game, Josh Chavez at the Cowboys game, and Matt DeJesus at the Arizona Cardinals game as well. So lots of opportunity there. So click on that link and contact those for email ASAP to come and join them. And then the sports schedule for the week. Let's see. Starting, hang on, my fault. Tomorrow, Wednesday, MLB. There's 15 MLB games. Again, like I've been doing. Want to just tell the city and the start time. The start times are Eastern times. Pittsburgh 12:35, Chicago 2:10, Toronto 3:07, Phoenix 3:40, Detroit, Philadelphia 6:40, Washington 6:45, the Bronx 7:05, Boston, Minneapolis 7:10, St. Louis 7:45, Houston 8:10, Seattle, Washington 9:40, San Francisco 9:45, and LA 10:10. Thursday, 8 MLB games, 4 music festivals. MLB Detroit, Michigan 1:10, St. Louis 1:15, Houston, Texas 2:10, Washington D.C. 6:45, Cleveland, Ohio 7:15, Bronx 7:15, Seattle 9:40, San Francisco 9:45. 4 concerts starting on the 12th. One is in Annapolis, Maryland, the Annapolis Songwriters Festival, September 12 to 15. One's in Las Vegas, Benner Jamboree, New York City, New York, Desert Fest, September 12 to 14. Clark Grove, Minnesota, Infrasound Equinox, September 12 to 15. Friday the 13th, you've got 15 MLB games, 5 or 6 festivals. MLB Detroit, Michigan 6:40, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia 6:40, Washington D.C. 6:45, the Bronx 7:05, Toronto, Ontario 7:07, Cleveland, Ohio 7:10, Atlanta 7:20, Chicago 7:40, Minneapolis 8:10, Denver 8:40, Anaheim 9:38, Phoenix, Arizona 9:40, Seattle, Washington 10:10, San Francisco 10:15. 5, it looks like 5 festivals. September 13 to 15. East Aurora, New York, Borderland Festival, Pryor, Oklahoma, Born and Raised Festival, Bristol, Tennessee, Bristol Rhythm and Blues, Flagstaff, Arizona, Picking the Pines, Telluride, Colorado, Telluride Blues and Brews, Townsend, Delaware, Weedstock, 2024. Saturday games. There are a bunch of MLB and MLS games. And 5 festivals, let's see. MLB, Pittsburgh, PA, Bronx, New York, 105 start, Toronto, Ontario, 3:07, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., 4:05, Detroit, Cleveland, Ohio, 6:10, Minneapolis, Chicago, Illinois, 7:10, Atlanta, 7:20, Denver, Colorado, Phoenix, Arizona, 8:10, San Francisco, 9:05, Anaheim, 9:38, Seattle, 9:40. MLS games, Atlanta 7:30. Let's see, there's a bunch of 7:30 games. Atlanta, Cincinnati, Washington D.C., Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Montreal, Quebec, Orlando, Florida, and Toronto 7:30 games. Chicago, Houston, Texas, St. Louis 8:30 games. Commerce City, Colorado 9:30. Carson, California, Vancouver 10:30 games. Festivals. September 14, 15, St. Louis, Missouri, Music at the Intersection, San Bernardino, California, Nocturnal Wonderland, Asbury Park, See Here Now Festival. And then Sunday, and we'll stop with Sunday, we've got a bunch of MLB and MLS games. MLB games. Detroit 12:10, Minneapolis 105, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Washington, Bronx 1:30, Toronto 1:37, Cleveland, Ohio 1:40, Chicago 2:10, Denver 3:10, San Francisco 4:05, Anaheim 4:07, Seattle, Phoenix 4:10, 7:10 Atlanta, and the MLS 7:15 Seattle, Washington. Monday MLB games and Tuesday MLB Accepted Music Fest in Nashville. Those are scheduled. See what else we got here. We talked about the events coming up and the SFOI 1000. Let me pull up the FBS schedule. If you live near one of these stadiums, These teams are playing at home. Let's see. This Thursday, South Alabama, Texas State. Friday, Kansas, Kansas State. Saturday, NC State, Michigan. Illinois, Miami of Ohio, Texas Tech, Tulsa, Wisconsin. Florida State, South Carolina. Missouri, Buffalo, Temple, Pitt, Michigan State, Oregon State, Florida. Washington, this game's in Seattle. Georgia Tech, Oklahoma, Minnesota, Ohio, Miami of Florida, Purdue. East Carolina, Iowa, Arkansas, Utah State, North Carolina, Liberty, Akron, Florida Atlantic, Duke, Georgia Southern, Old Dominion, Charlotte, Wake Forest, Western Michigan, Southern Miss, Georgia State, San Jose State, Middle Tennessee, Eastern Michigan, Sam Houston, Texas, TCU, Northwestern, Baylor, Kentucky, UCLA, Mississippi State, Nebraska, Auburn, Colorado State, Tennessee, Virginia, Houston, Wyoming, California, and Fresno State. They're all playing at home. And then all the NFL games for this weekend. Thursday, Miami, September 12th. Sunday, Baltimore, Carolina, Dallas, Detroit, Green Bay, Jacksonville, Minnesota, New England, Tennessee, Washington, Arizona, Denver, Kansas City, Houston, and Monday night, Atlanta, Philadelphia. So, friends, that's it, man. Hey, today, David Day is going to be on with me, SFOI Live at 2 o'clock. Tune into that. If you got any questions or want to go out and preach, let me know. I'd love to help you. We're going to start talking about college campuses soon, Lord willing. We want to flood the nation with gospel preaching, bring the righteousness of Christ out in the open air, preaching Jesus said, I came to teach not my own doctrine, the one who sent me, that I came not to do my will, but the one who sent me. We want to preach Christ, his teachings, his word for the nation to hear and understand who our great God is. 423-724-7500. Text me if you got a message or I can help you. Take care.